Thank you, Avinash. Welcome to Brand New, published by ISD Global. Looking forward to this conversation with you.
Likewise, Suresh. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, our pleasure. Let me begin by asking you a bit about yourself. Yours truly.
Well, my name is Avinash Babur. I'm born and raised in the UAE. We started InsuranceMarket.ae in 2010, October 2010. And yeah, I mean, the story is that, it was incubated in my father's traditional brokerage firm, which he started in 95. And we bootstrapped our way without any external funding through, this 10, 11-year period to become the largest insurance platform in the UAE. Today, we have over 150,000 policyholders. We have a team of over 500 employees. And yeah, we're a market leading player for all lines of insurance, whether retail or corporate. So, it's been a fun ride and it just feels like it's the beginning. So we're raring to go still.
Lovely, lovely. If I could ask you to actually step back and give us a bit of a blast from the past. I know Mr. Nandu Babar, your dad, had started Aafiya, right?
Yeah.
If you could just take us down that Aafiya path, and then how you kind of beautifully, seamlessly graduated into insurance market.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, my dad's story is, the Dubai dream, if you would like to call it that, came in the year 1980, secured a job, and, it happened to be at an insurance brokerage firm. And from there, 15 years, he gave it everything, went from, an accounting role straight through to managing director until that firm was acquired and by an international player. And at that point, he started his own company, and that was Aafiya Insurance Brokerage in, like I said, the year 1995. And, did a great job at building a very, very sound platform where, it was all about customer centricity. And when we say customer centricity, for us, we look at customers as policyholders as well as insurance companies. And so, it was when I joined the business in 2010, it was all of his teachings that I implemented, along with some inspirations from the West, looking at how insurance processes have become digitized, insurance distribution is becoming digitized, and so brought those two things together, and that's the journey.
So would you say, Avinash, that there was a tipping point or a trigger point that actually said now is the time to disintermediate and launch insurance market?
There wasn't so much disintermediation as such, but being a student in the UK, you wherever you go, you see advertising for insurance brands, whether that's insurance companies, insurance brokers, or indeed insurance
on the buses and the underground
everywhere. And for me, that was kind of inspiring because obviously my whole vision was to kind of do something in the insurance space, take forward what my dad had built. So I found that inspiring. I found advertising always brand building, an interesting way to set yourself apart from the others. So, it was, and when I looked around in Dubai, that wasn't so much the case with insurance. There was no insurance brand as such, mainstream insurance brand that you could see everywhere. And so for me, that was an opportunity. There was a gap in the market. And I felt like I could, have a, creatively fulfilling career in something as what one may perceive as a dry, business. And that's exactly what I could manage to do. So it was, I would say, my time in the UK. And then, at business school, not even at business school, at boarding school, this is way back, there was this one game, business game that they made us play, and I used to always win that. And the way to win that was to increase the advertising budget. It was probably a bug in the game, but that's what kind of gave me the bug as well. And so, fortunately or unfortunately, I stuck to the same formula.
Lovely, lovely. Just taking you a little bit away from insurance, and this is not exactly a dry area, but on the contrary, it's a very exciting area and probably very sought after. You had a reasonably long stint with motion pictures. You want to talk about that?
No, it wasn't a stint actually. So for me, creative fulfillment in my career is very, very important. I was a student of film. I'm a student of film. Have always been excited by film. And so as a result, I started a separate venture to try and produce feature films.
Wow.
And I'm still on the journey of doing that. So we've produced a couple of scripts and packages, and it's about getting all our ducks in a row to be able to, get it off the ground. So that's been kind of a slow and steady process, but that's been a kind of parallel journey on the side. Whilst, of course, the core focus has always been InsuranceMarket.ae.
Right, absolutely. Good luck with that,
Thank
because
you.
there is a separate story which I'll tell you offline. Okay. See, if you look at the industry, the perception that generally insurance has, there is a little bit of apprehension, probably a little bit of a quasi trust factor, trust deficit, a little bit of suspicion. I mean, do you see that changing? And I'm sure, given your progressive thinking, you would be doing something to kind of alter the landscape a bit. What is your thought on that?
Yeah, I mean, our market is unique as well, and the market I'm talking about, the market I serve, is the UAE. It's a fairly sizable insurance market as well, with over $20 billion in written premiums. But the buyers of insurance here are very, very diverse. We have, as we know, a very diverse population across many nationalities, but we also have a very transient population. So the levels of understanding of insurance, the importance that people give to insurance differ wildly between people, and so it's been our job to try and make it accessible for all types of people, and so that's why it's not just a simple case of having one channel, to assist customers, or to have one approach to transact with customers. It's about building this 360 capability to be able to service any customer that wants to buy insurance.
Across both retail and corporate.
Across both retail and corporate. And so what that allows you to do is gain market share, gain scale, and with that comes trust. So the reason people have trust issues with insurance in most markets is because there isn't a global brand for insurance. There isn't, let's say a Google, right? We all trust Google to give us good information when we search, right? That isn't the case in insurance. In fact, insurance is one of the most fragmented markets on the planet.
Thriving on ambiguity as well.
I don't know if they're thriving on ambiguity, but unfortunately,
maybe the perception is that, yeah,
we do get perceived as being ambiguous. And even the largest corporations in the world, often, like if you say Geico or Progressive, or Berkshire Hathaway, tend to be limited in their direct insurance operations just to their own countries. You don't really have a global player, and so there is no brand to trust. And so for me, it was all about building a trusted brand. And the moment you can build your brand, you're building trust. And that's what brand isn't just built through marketing and advertising.
Certainly.
It's about what you do day in, day out. It's about how you help customers at the time of a claim. That is the real delivery of insurance, in my view. And so those are the opportunities to build brand, and that's what we've kind of focused on.
Absolutely. I think trust is a conduit to building a brand, one of the most important foundations. I'm sure, as an entrepreneur, it has not been a cakewalk in terms of, it's not a plug and play in any case, So I wanted to understand from you, and maybe the audience would be very keen to understand, is that what are the typical impediments that you anticipated and did not anticipate when you launched Insurance Market?
Yeah, sure. So, like I said earlier, insurance is a fragmented market, but it also is a very competitive market. And there are, lots of brokers and banks selling insurance companies selling directly. Post that, there were aggregators that raised a lot of capital selling insurance. There are lots of kind of ways to buy insurance and lots of channels and lots of, it's a noisy market. And, the lessons of blue ocean strategy are that you don't want to go into the red bloody ocean. So for me, it was all about figuring out how can I do something that's truly unique, that is not actually done by anyone. And that took some time, So we started obviously through the traditional insurance broker route, but we built a lot of digital capabilities. And so today I believe that nobody does exactly what we do. There's nobody else. There's no comparable.
It's not a replicatable model.
Yeah, it's not a model that anyone has replicated or of course, people have attempted to replicate, but with very limited amounts of success. And what are these elements? Well, firstly, we have our roots in traditional insurance broking, but we are growing like a fast growth tech firm. But we are bootstrapped and we haven't raised external capital. So there are these things that from the outside, it's difficult for us to be perceived as a fast growth tech company or an insurance broker, and at the same time there have been lots of waves in distribution channels. It has been fashionable in certain periods for insurance companies to say, oh, we're going to start selling through banks. That's the way forward. Or there have been times when insurance companies have said, oh, we're going to now start selling through car dealerships or through aggregators. But none of those have actually worked. And through this entire period, actually, insurance brokers have been gaining more and more market share. So it's about how do we leverage the strengths of the traditional insurance broking model, which I have a lot of love and respect for, but to add tech to that as an accelerator, as rocket fuel, to improve the customer's experience.
Touch with tech. Touch and tech.
Yeah, absolutely.
The two T's, right?
Yeah.
So, most cases, you have the Tweedledee and the Tweedledum, which is the health and auto insurance taking primary recognition, market share, etc., etc. And as an outsider, we were always thinking, why is home or travel or cyber liability not such a sought after, again, pardon the ignorance, area for insurance players? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the UAE and the region more largely has among the lowest insurance penetrations globally. And that's incumbent upon us and players like us to improve upon. Let's go one by one. You named travel, home, and cyber liability. So, travel, I think things have really changed substantially post-COVID. We see a huge uptake of that now. People are beginning to recognize the risks around travel, and rightly so. So that has changed. When it comes to home insurance, what tends to happen in my observation is that every time, unfortunately, there's a fire, there is a huge media wave of people talking about home insurance and the importance. There's some firefighting. There are stories around people who lost everything and didn't have any insurance. There's a huge surge in inquiries we get and the business we do, but that typically lasts a couple of weeks and unfortunately it dies down again. So how do we keep sustained interest in home insurance? That's the question. I'm still trying to answer it, but I would say
it's work in progress.
It's work in progress, but we've seen great progress at that. It's one of our fastest growing businesses as it stands today, and it's about spreading awareness in a way that is sustainable for us, and so we've been working at that. Cyber is interesting. I mean, that's probably one of the biggest risks we face, and businesses face. There are supply side constraints as well as demand side. Demand side is awareness. How does it work? What liabilities actually do I have to others, and what own damage can be incurred, and how can it be insured? That's one side of it. And then the other side of it is getting the underwriter and the underwriting capacity to be able to service that risk, and to insure that risk. And it's not, the larger businesses have a fairly sophisticated, accessible market for that. But the moment you're talking about private individuals or SMEs, there's a huge kind of supply side constraint there, which we have to work with the market in trying to address. So, and that said, even health insurance, which you said is, bread and butter, but at the end of the day, even that doesn't have the kind of penetration of a good quality cover that other markets have. And so there's tremendous opportunity and a big role that we have to play in other lines, which are even mandatory. Even beyond that, things like life insurance is among the lowest penetrations in the world. So there's a lot of opportunity. It depends on how you look at it. Lowest penetration could mean that it's a rubbish market to be in, or it could mean that it can only go up from here. And so we focus on the latter.
Yeah, but probably a parallel could be, if you look at the size of the country back in India, and the mutual fund penetration.
Yeah.
That's a parallel, right? It's so negligible. And there is some kind of, like you mentioned, probably a blue ocean opportunity with the right kind of nudging, the right kind of educating, the right kind of communication.
Yeah.
Because I think there is, I hope it is not just blue ocean, maybe even a green swan opportunity for you, So good luck with
Green
that.
Swan. I need to look that up.
Okay, so you are a tech, digital, transformative aggregator, very progressive, forward-looking, and you want to have a vision that is probably a future back rather than a present forward. You're imagining the future and coming back from there,
Yeah.
rather than okay, which is a brilliant thing to do. So, as you quest for that, what are the impediments, advantages, disadvantages that you see when you deal with actual providers? What is your experience been?
Yeah. So when you say providers, you mean insurance companies,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So insurance companies generally, globally, not just here in the UAE, are known to be the slowest to change, slowest to, innovate, and that's for the right reasons as well. Insurance is not so much about insurance. The core business of insurance is to put the right price on risk, which is a fairly sophisticated thing. So when it comes to customer experience and distribution, they entrust people like us to bring them the insurance premiums that they need, right? So insurers, are still trying to figure out how to price dynamically. And when I say dynamically, how do you measure aspects of a risk and instantly come up with a price? And then how do you convey that price to us? Coming up with an API, for example, an integration, giving us authorities to be able to price at our end so that we can service customers better. When you think of even motor insurance, many insurers don't have an API, but motor is one of the most commoditized lines of business. But when you look beyond that, there is so much opportunity in just reducing the amount of man hours spent by insurers in doing things, and that's where the opportunity lies as well. From my perspective.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, as a brand, or what would be insurance market doing? And now I'm talking purely in the context of, say, the health space. Okay, because we were all learned in school, in biology, and in community living, prevention is better than cure. And what is the insurance market brand doing or willing to do to make sure that you're actually encouraging healthy lifestyle, healthy habits, so that you're encouraging people to pay lower premiums
Yeah.
as a reward and recognition for that.
Yeah. No, that's a great point, and I think that's where things are headed globally. We've recently launched our super app called My Alfred, and as we speak, actually, I've not told this, so you heard it here first.
Yeah.
But we are actually launching an integration for an entire wellness proposition within our app, and the objective would be without, and there are challenges around it. Not everyone wants to be tracked, not everyone wants their data to be sent to insurance companies and so on. But in a kind of more community based way, we want to try and measure the performance of our insured population, and then as a result of that, bring them benefits. So if you want it managed, you want it measured. So I think step one, measure, and find an effective way, incentive to policyholders to enable measurement. And then step two will be, how do we manage? How can we incentivize them to live and lead healthier lives? And I think there's a tremendous, not only opportunity, but from a business perspective, but a general
The impact that you can make on the community. Absolutely.
Yeah.
In fact, just dovetailing into that point that you shared, we have a concept at ISD Global called the interaction field. Okay, wherein it's actually an ecosphere of collaborators who are working together to kind of realize a common objective. And you're driving energy, intelligence, market share, market penetration for each other. Okay, so that is something that we've in fact actually encouraging our brand partners to work with as well. Is such a thought, accruing? Is such a thought crossing your mind at insurance market?
I didn't get the question. So thought around
so the
having a community of leaders.
Interaction field is actually what we mean is that there are multiple support players complementing, supplementing what you're doing. So it could be a provider of health and well-being. It could be a wearable thing, or it could be somebody else. Anybody who's relevant to the ecosphere, who will add value significantly.
Yeah.
In the quest for you telling that, listen, my community has to be healthier, fitter, happier, whatever it is, So is that something that you are contemplating?
Absolutely. It's all about creating value for the ecosystem. Ecosystem has become a bit of a cliche, but it's so true.
That's why I use the word interaction field.
Interaction, but it's It's so true, right? So again, with My Alfred, what we're doing is we've brought in lots of partners to bring offers and benefits to our policyholders. And as a result of that, we are able to produce business for them. And creating this community around, and insurance is effectively a membership, right? So what are you getting as a result of being a member of this community? What is the insurer getting as a result of being a member of this community and a risk taker in this community? I think if you think from all angles about all the value you can add, you will discover so many great ways to add value and make an impact.
Right. Absolutely. I think, it's a question of the collaborators pushing each other, and I think serving the needs of each other very, very seamlessly. I think that's precisely the idea.
Yes.
Do you think, Avinash, that insurance as a play, as a vertical, is a very transaction oriented thing, and therefore again there is an opportunity to be caring, touch, feel, empathetic, compassionate. I think as a brand which is forward looking, I mean, from the outside we feel there is an opportunity there.
Yeah. Yes, it is transactional. I would certainly agree there. Is there an opportunity to engage more? Absolutely. Um, do we have the objective to be in our customers' lives every single day and interact with us as they interact with Uber or Amazon? I don't think so. We have to be practical around what people expect from insurance, right? And will the nature of insurance change and it gets integrated into everything we do 50 years from now? I don't know. But as it's insurance,
that's a tough crystal ball gazing.
Yeah, that's crazy to try and visualize right now. But looking 10, 20, 30 years ahead, I think, whilst we continue to try and figure out how we can engage with our customers more, add more value to our customers in every single way that we can, we also have to be practical around what people expect from insurance. And sometimes they want it to be transactional, right? So that's the caveat to that. For example, with my bank, I don't want them to send me push notifications daily and to try and take more and more data off me. What I want from a bank is, though, that when I need you, you got to be there and you got to take very good care of me when I need you. And so there's an aspect of that to think about as well. It's to think about what customers really want and then delivering that to them first.
Yeah, probably there is, the reason I'm looking at it is that, because you want to just probably ping and, go into the future and then come back. Idea should be to make insurance more sexy. Right now, it is too much of a commodity, like you said, I mean, I think, once, and with all these other things, I think there is probably an underlying still waters run deep, as they say, I think there is probably an opportunity there. So, just tell us, Avinash, in the overall pie, with segregating retail and corporate, where is your dominance,
So we are, I would say 70-30, 70 retail, 30 corporate. So we're fairly sizable in both. We are market leaders, I would say, in both. But when we say corporate, we're predominantly excellent at serving SMEs, and that's where our strength lies. There are other global players who are good at large corporate business, and so we let them handle that part of the market. But it's in retail and SME that our strengths lie.
Okay. So my question next is, so as I say, in an increasingly commoditized world, customer experience will be probably your best product or service. Okay. And as a brand which is doing a whole lot of very clever, smart communication, what does Insurance Market do to differentiate yourself from your peers and competitors?
Right. So obviously branding and our brand mascot Alfred, who's well known around town.
Congratulations on that. Actually, that's so unique and that's so non-BFSI.
Yeah.
Alfred. So many congratulations on that.
Thank you. So yeah, we already kind of have that edge because of Alfred, and it's about making sure we stay 2 steps ahead. So how do we, take Alfred's story forward? How do we keep Alfred relevant and engaged and engaging with the community? But Alfred is certainly a way we've differentiated. And then the rest of the differentiation comes from, like I said earlier, there's nobody that does exactly what we do. And hence we've been able to deliver the growth of a fast growth tech company without any VC funding and in through the platform of an insurance broking channel. And the only way that comes through is through customer experience. For us, tech for the sake of tech is not. We don't want to invest in tech for the sake of tech. For us, it's about what can we do to make our customers' lives easier. When I say customers, it's policyholders as well as underwriters.
Right.
And it's about investing in the right systems, processes, people, and tech to be able to achieve that. And so, I would like to commend my team of over 500 employees who have got us over 18,000 Google reviews with a 4.9 out of 5-star rating. And that demonstrates that it's our obsession with customer centricity that has got us to where we are and will hopefully take us to where we want to be.
Okay, full disclosure, I was car insurance. I was dealing directly with a provider, but since last year I've started dealing with insurance market.
Great.
Okay.
Welcome.
And my experience, again, no flattery, was absolutely top notch.
Oh, fantastic.
Okay, so thank you for that. Thank you for that kind
great.
of.
It's always I think a pleasure meeting a customer.
yeah, absolutely. And finally, Avinash, before we let you go, some people, situations that have been truly inspiring in your life. I mean, you and the audience, I'm sure, would like to know.
Which situations have been truly inspired? I think I feel most inspired because of my obsession with film. I feel most inspired in the cinema. I find it meditative. So when therapeutic, absolutely. No matter if the film is good or bad, it helps if the film is good. But I think having the ability to stay in a dark room for 2 hours and not have to do something and not have to think something is a great opportunity to reflect and meditate. And somehow, whenever I'm walking out of the cinema, I feel inspired and energetic, regardless of how rubbish the movie may have been or how great the movie may have been. And it's never the same with Netflix. So somehow, off the top of my head, that's one observation of where I always feel inspired.
Fantastic. Join the club because I'm also a big cinema goer in the actual true conventional sense of the term.
Yeah.
Have you noticed one thing? There's a slightly tangential question as articulation, but I think you're talking to two people who are very, very passionate about this space. The moment you come out of a cinema house, the most introverts of introverts have an opinion. They want to share something. That is the power of the medium. That's the power of the film medium. They will say, oh no, that could have been shot better. This, I didn't know why was this scene not, there is always an opinion that whom he might be very reserved or she might be very reserved and very introverted, but the medium actually brings out a response in people. Yeah. And that is a salute and an ode to the medium,
Absolutely. You're preaching to the choir.
Preaching to the choir. Absolutely. Thanks so much, Avinash. It was wonderful talking to
Suresh.
you.
Thank you for this.
Good luck with everything.
Thank you.
And keep flying high.
Yeah, thank you. Really enjoyed this.
Same here.